everyone. Welcome to Module 1. In this module, we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to start out by looking at Chrome, which is the Google browser. This is the browser that you're going to want to use in pretty much everything, but especially when you're using Google. So anytime you're working in G Suite with your work or personally, you're going to want to make sure you're using Chrome. We're also going to take a look at digital citizenship in this module, as well as ISTE standards. We'll talk a little bit about your culminating project and a couple of other things. And once you feel like you're in a position that you are ready to move on to Module 2, please complete the quiz and complete the assignments that are listed. Let's get started with Chrome. So Chrome is a little bit different than other browsers you may have used in the past. The thing that I really like about Chrome is that you can log into Chrome and then all the things that you have on one computer follow you onto a different computer, which I really like. So you'll notice that I have lots of bookmarks here, and we'll talk about why my bookmarks look this way. But if I sign into a Chromebook or if I sign into a new computer with my Google account, all of those same bookmarks will come with me, which I really like. So when I first come into Chrome, I want to click in here and make sure that I'm logged in. So I can do that by clicking Settings. And you'll notice at the top, it says People, and it has my name, and it says that I'm syncing to this account. So you just want to make sure that yours is set up like that and make sure that it's syncing. When it's syncing, that means that it's taking all that information, like all those bookmarks, all of the shortcuts that I'm using, and bringing them back and forth with me. So anytime I log into a different device with the same account, I'm going to see all those same things, which is really beneficial to me. You may have noticed that when you click over here, this normally will look like 3 dots. I have left it like this so that you can see what it looks like when you need to update Chrome. And so you'll see it's a little red circle with an up pointing arrow. That means that Chrome needs to update. And you'll see when I click on this, it says right here, Update Google Chrome. When you update Google Chrome, it's really easy. All you have to do is restart Chrome. So if I wanted to update this right now, and I will as soon as I'm finished with this video, I would restart Chrome and it'll update. It'll automatically push the new version to me, and it happens really, really quickly. There's a couple of other things in this 3-dot submenu that you'll see. You can add new tabs, you can add new windows, and you can add something called incognito windows. And so when you open up an incognito window, your computer doesn't track it, and Google doesn't track it in the same way or kind of keep track of what you've done and try to help you with that information later. So that can be helpful if you are having somebody use your computer that you don't need them to log in, but they want to be able to use Chrome. This is a great use for that. I use the history a fair bit. So in here, you can go to all of your history that you've used in this account. But the thing that I really like is sometimes my computer will shut down Chrome. And I oftentimes will have 4 or 5 or 10 tabs open at the top. So these things are tabs up here. I can go over here to the recently closed, and if my computer shut down and I had 18 tabs open, there'll be a little folder here that says 18 recently closed tabs, and I can click that and it'll open them all up all at one time, which is really, really nice. So that's the history. The first thing we're going to talk about is capturing bookmarks. So again, I've mentioned that these are all bookmarks, and a bookmark is basically a shortcut to a website. So if I want to go to Google Drive, I can click on this one and it'll take me to Google Drive. In order to make a bookmark, you're going to click the star. So on any website, I'll go to a new website so that you can see what this looks like. So we'll go to the Library of Congress, and we can't bookmark this because this is a Google search, so that won't let us do that. But if I click into Library of Congress, I can click this star and it'll automatically create a bookmark. You can see by default, mine's going to go to the bookmark bar. This thing is the bookmark bar. You can set it to go somewhere else. I personally like the bookmark bar a lot because it's right here and I don't have to do a lot of clicking to get to it. Another cool thing, so if I click done here, it'll save the bookmark and say Home Library of Congress. What you can also do is change what this says. So I can do LOC for Library of Congress if I know what that means. And you'll notice over here, I've actually gotten rid of all of the words in some of these. So some things have really specific icons. So this is Canvas, this is Duolingo, this is Flipgrid, this is Twitter. So they have very specific favicons. That's what this thing is called. It's the little picture that shows up to the left of the website title in the tab. So if you know what that thing is, you don't have to have words at all. And the benefit to not having words is that it makes it so that you can put a lot more bookmarks all lined up here. You can see for some of these, there are little words. I use abbreviations. I use things that are going to work for me. So I can click done here. Actually, I'll add LOC because I don't know what the favicon is for this one. Oh, I guess it says LOC. So I'll take that off. And then I'll click done. After I click it, you might say, I don't know where this went. I don't know where that bookmark went. How do I find it? So see these little two arrows over here? If I click on those, it'll take me to this giant long list. But the thing that I'm looking for is this one way at the bottom. You can see that says LOC. And I want to drag this up into my bar so that I can see it more. So I'm going to drag all the way up. And then when I get to the bar up here, you can see that it turns into a white line. So I'm going to drop this in here. And you can see there it is. So that's pretty easy. So if I were on another website, so let's say I'm in my Google Drive and I click on LOC, it's going to automatically take me to Library of Congress. If I say I don't want that as a bookmark anymore, I can right click it and I can click delete. You'll notice that there's also an option for editing. So if you saved a bookmark and it's taking up a ton of space in your bookmark bar and you wish that it was smaller, you can click edit and you can change what it says, or you can delete the words altogether like I do. So you can see I'll get rid of that one and that one's not there anymore. So that is making bookmarks. Again, you start with the star to do that. So the next thing we'll talk about is adding more tabs. So I like to have lots of tabs going at the top because I have different things going on and I have to switch between different tabs at various times while I'm working. So to add a tab, you're going to click New Tab here. You can also do Command T or Control T depending on what kind of computer you're on. So that adds a new tab and it lets you browse into something different. So that's adding a new tab. If you're trying to print out of Chrome, you can print in a number of different ways. So if I come up to the top of my computer and click File, you can click Print here. I can print out of this 3-dot menu over here that we talked about. I can also do Command, I'm on a Mac, so I can do Command P, or if you're on a Windows computer like a Dell, you could click or use the keyboard and do Control P. Additionally, if I'm in a Google Doc, I can do File, Print here. I can also click this print little icon at the top. So again, let's get into the settings. So this will be the 3-dot menu over here, and then click Settings. And once you're in Settings, there's a lot of different things that you can do in here. One of the things that I find very useful is changing the startup page. And so a nice thing about the settings in Chrome is that you can search for what you're looking for. So once you're in the settings, you've gone to the 3 dots and chosen settings. I'll type in startup. So you can see I typed in the word start, so it's going to show me everything that is related to starting. So you can see on startup, I can set it to open a specific set of pages. I can have it open to the new tab page, and the new tab page is this is what the new tab looks like, and I'll talk about why mine looks like that. And you can also choose continue where you left off. So there's lots of different options for you, and keep in mind that when you have the open specific page or a set of pages, you can have lots of different pages. So I have a number of pages on here because they're the things that I like to start the day with. So all of those start up when I start Chrome. So that can be really beneficial. That can help get your workflow going. So if you know that you need attendance open and your email open and your calendar open and a bunch of other things, you can have all of those set to open all by themselves. Another thing that we can do in the settings that can be really beneficial is clearing your history or clearing your cache. So sometimes websites won't work properly because there's old versions cached, or a cached version of a website means your browser is sort of holding on to an old version to try to make it faster when it loads up. So if we go into the 3 dots here and go into more tools, You can see right here, you'll find clear browsing data. That's the thing we want to clear the cache. So if you're having an issue, or if somebody says you should try clearing your cache, these are all of the things that you can do with that. So if you need to delete the cookies, or just your browsing history, or all of your cache, that's all right here. And you can select how much time. So if I just want my things from the last hour or the last week deleted, I can choose that, or I can do it since the beginning of time. It's completely up to you. But that's in the 3 dots in More Tools, and then Clear Browsing Data. The next thing I want to talk about is how to find things in a website. So oftentimes you'll be on a website and there will be lots and lots of words, and perhaps you don't have the time or the interest in reading them all. There's a pretty easy way that you can search the website without having to read everything. So on my computer, if I do Command F, or if you're on a Windows computer, do Control F, this little thing will pop up. And if I'm looking for something about architecture, I can type in the word architecture. And you'll see it shows me that there's 1 out of 1 result. So there's one thing about architecture. And if you notice down here, it'll highlight for me. So that works in pretty much every website. If you do Control or Command F, you can find in the page. You'll notice that that's also an option in the 3 dots menu over here. So if I click on Find, that same thing happens. So it's just a different way of doing the exact same thing. I'll show you a couple of final things that I use in Chrome a lot. You might notice on the top here that some of my tabs look different than other tabs do. So you'll notice that this tab is much bigger than this one. The reason for that is that I've pinned this one. The reason you might want to pin them is it's less easy to close them accidentally, and they take up a lot less space. So to pin a tab, you're going to right click on the tab, and then you'll notice it says Pin Tab. Once you pin the tab, it collapses it down, and you'll notice it doesn't have this X. The X closes things out. If I want to unpin a tab, I do the same thing. So I'll right click the tab and click Unpin Tab, and it'll expand back out. And take a second and look through what's in the submenu. So if you right click on a tab, you'll notice that there's a lot of different options in here. And something that can be really beneficial for you is reloading just the tab. So sometimes there's a problem, or you can't even get into the tab, and doing the reload can help a lot. One of my other favorite things is doing the right click and then closing tabs to the right. So oftentimes I'll end up with a whole bunch of junk on the right because I've been working on a project or doing some searching or looking for images. And when I'm finished with that, I don't necessarily want to close everything in my Chrome. I just want to close all the things to the right. And so I can click close tab, all the tabs to the right, and all of it will go away, which is really beneficial and tends to save me a fair amount of time. The last thing I want to show you is Open Guest Window. So we talked a little bit about incognito windows, and one of the reasons you could use incognito windows is for somebody who needs to use your computer for just a minute to use your Chrome. Keep in mind that I wouldn't do that too often, and I'm not sure I would do it with students, but that's completely up to you. I tend to not want people using my devices if I'm logged into them because I just get nervous about that. But one thing you can do is open a guest window. Things don't get saved in the way that they do on your computer, like with cookies, like we talked about before, and things don't get cached in the same way. So this can be really beneficial, and I use this sometimes just if I want to see what something looks like when I'm not logged into it. So if I'm developing a Google Doc or something, and I want to see what it looks like for other people or whether or not they'd be able to access it, I use this guest window a lot. So that can be really beneficial as well. If you want to do a graphic organizer to try to test your skills in some of these things, you absolutely can. There's also a quiz at the end of this module to see what you know and maybe what you don't know. So take a second, keep working your way through the module, and I'll see you in module 2.